Daddy long that guy. And shout out to Red Light Crew.
Hey, you're one of 12 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
Yeah, you know what? To find that better, I think the key there is... I just lost my train of thought.
Oh my God, another episode of the Real Life Podcast. Not a soul in this room will be surprised if Dave Tippett is hired as the new head coach of the Edmonton Oilers this week. How is this such a badly kept secret?
I guess they couldn't officially make the announcement until he actually said yes. So everyone knew he was the only guy they're talking to, but obviously details weren't ironed out, and that's why it's been kind of lingering. But it's been a foregone conclusion.
I thought Gregor had an interesting tweet today about why the announcement is tomorrow. That the NHL doesn't want teams who are not playing making announcements on game days during the Cup final. That's why Oilers presser will be tomorrow, just in case you are wondering. Signed, Jason Gregor.
Interesting.
Hey, we have lives too. We have to get our news and dish it out whenever the hell we want. I don't care that St. Louis Blues or Boston Bruins are going to win the Stanley Cup.
It'd be amazing if they brought out 3 coaching candidates online on a stage, on a podium, and then they gave them all draft cards, when they do the draft card lottery, Chalmers, and then they all turn the fucking cards over, and only one has an Oilers logo, and that's the coach.
I'd like to see some kind of gladiator type battle.
Cool.
Where they have to fight it out for the job.
Yeah.
Who really wants it?
3 guys, 3 podiums, then 2 trap doors just drop.
Yes.
And then the guy still standing there has a job and no one knows going
Yeah,
in.
like in what was that, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge?
Amazing show.
They'd have they have competitors that all run to a wall that had doors.
Yeah.
3 of them were painted and one you could run through. So the one that you could run through is the coach. The other one just go.
Who's doing a lot of that stuff these days is Ellen on her show. She does things where she rockets people out. Ellen.
Oh.
Yeah. My wife watches it all the time. I stumble in for the guest she's got a good show. But she does things where people will get thrown out by a crane or something or fall very far.
It's like Super Dave Osborne reincarnated.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
When I was little watching Super Dave, I always thought it was real.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm little in this story. But I'm like, damn, that guy just got his head removed.
Oh, yeah.
That was a disturbing show to a
Yeah,
child.
Dave got banged up.
He just passed away.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, rest in peace.
Can somebody tell me why there was a week between the Cup final and the end of last series? They always do this?
There always a little bit of time in between. Remember when we...
I've forgotten about it.
You guys went to Mexico.
Remember in 06? We squeezed in a whole Mexico trip, basically.
Oh, yeah,
Oilers,
we got there the last game, the 7th game of the conference final.
And then they played their first game
Well,
day
we-
after
the
we
day
got back.
we
Or
got
2
home.
days after we got back.
Yeah.
How you had the drinking stamina to do a cup run, then squeeze in a trip to Mexico, then come back for the finals? Fighting fit. You're fighting fit.
That was amazing.
We're young, didn't even feel a hangover.
Are you going to watch the Cup finals? Are you going to watch the
No,
games?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, hey, I am excited
Yeah,
because,
I'm gonna
like I
watch 'em.
said,
Did you bet on both
I
teams?
bet on 4 horses to win the cup before the playoffs
Oh,
started.
yes, and you said one of the
and
St. Louis.
2 of them were in the final.
Which one stands you? St. Louis must give you better odds.
Way more money.
Yeah,
So Boston was my hedge, so I think I come up $10 if Boston wins, and I win 80 if...
You should never tell people what you stand to win. Then they think then they realize what you're betting. Make them feel like it's got a G on there, bud.
Well, I know I don't like to lie. There's
You don't have to lie. You just don't say anything.
these 12 people.
How many
trust
notches you got?
me.
Hey, speaking of lying.
Yeah, exactly. See?
Speaking of lying.
Yeah.
You asked me if you could say it on the podcast.
What?
I looked at you and said, I don't think I want to do it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
One.
Red bees?
I simply said that to you guys because I wanted to let you inside my life. Not so
Chalmers
that you
comes-
could run home
he
to my
comes-
wife
he
and
comes-
tell her the truth.
Well, we didn't run home. It was the
Well,
power of podcast.
it took
I
about-
couldn't believe it,
and
Charles.
12
I was
people,
sitting
man,
here.
12 friends,
I
and their
listened
12
back.
friends,
I
12
listened,
friends.
I listened back to it because I wanted to see exactly how it came out.
Oh yeah.
And
belligerently.
you tried to help.
Thank
you were
you.
like, and
Yeah.
you, and
I'm
you
trying
know,
to help. You've got a problem, Chalmers.
I do not.
I'm
Let me-
trying to help you with your problem.
Then let me give you the whole story, okay? I had been not even really thinking about it. I'd been glad that I'd been Red Bull free. On that Tuesday, I had a weekend that I was on Tuesday morning, I woke up and I was really, really tired. And I thought to myself, I haven't really been thinking about this. I would like to do a little test. It was an experiment. It's like
This
being
is how
a scientist.
crackheads talk when they start doing crack.
So
So
now
I
he's
went-
justifying. So
No, this is not a justification. This is the truth, and this is, well, at the end, you'll understand.
It sounds like a guy being caught in To Catch a Predator right now. He's like, no, I was just here to tell the
Why did
kids
you bring
about the
condoms?
danger of the
What-
internet.
I don't know.
Chalmers I'll let you finish, and I'll tell you what actually happened.
Well, just hold
From
on.
my
You're-
perspective.
Okay, fair enough. So then Tuesday, I have it. Doesn't do anything. It was super cold. I like the taste. I went, okay, they're good still. It didn't do anything, so what's the
didn't
point?
do anything. What were you expecting to have happen?
Just like a jolt of energy.
You didn't
I just
get a
needed
jolt of
boost.
energy?
No, I didn't at all. Okay. I went back to work and I just was like I didn't even drink it. It was like out of water. So on Thursday, I was walking through the Home Depot as I do, and they sell them there. And I went, I'm gonna have one more. I'm gonna do one more test. And that was the day of the can that I left in my truck. And yeah, was I a little worried that my lady would find the can? Yes, and I did drive to a Husky and put it in the garbage can. But
that.
Once again, this one then wasn't as cold. It was a law of diminishing returns. I was not pumped by it. So I basically said to myself, I'm not going to have any more. This is why I was comfortable coming in on Tuesday.
How did Jay find out?
When I came in to do the podcast with you guys.
Oh, and then we had to scrub
And then
it.
we didn't end up doing it. I said it. I told Jay. And,
Well, he comes in, and first thing he says, "Oh, boys, I caved in and had 2 Red Bulls last week." I'm like, okay. Well,
Jay's taking notes. Well, throw Chalmers under bus.
Wow.
yeah.
Point
So
I'm like, ooh, and we're like, ooh. I'm like, well, we need to share this with the audience.
Yeah, no, and you know what? And I wanted to talk it out with you guys to see how it would come across, but because we were having so much, like, there was bees buzzing, there was a bunch of people in here, the conversation really never got off the ground, and all Jay heard was, sell out my buddy to his wife. So here's the funny part about this. Aaron texted me, like, I know when the show goes live because it comes onto our group text. It texted me about an hour later and goes, did you do the podcast? And I'm like, no, I didn't do it because they had to do it today and I couldn't do it today. She's like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, oh, for Christ's sake.
No, it just
and it's gonna be
interesting.
And it's gonna be one of those where she's like, I'm gonna let him tell me. And so now I'm sitting here going, okay, so do I just tell her? I'll be like, I know what's happening. So I get home and I'm like, do you have a couple mentions? Say anything? And she's like, well, I did. I had one. Somebody just sent me a can of Red Bull. So I thought maybe you guys talked about it on the podcast. And I was like, send me that person's name. I would like it. And number 2, this is why.
Who did it? Who ratted you out with that tweet, you know?
I don't remember, but they just basically, there was a couple more after that, but it was just literally a can of Red Bull tagged to her.
I do like the execution of that tweet.
Yeah.
Just a can of Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. Not domino.
That's
just
like our Insta post.
That guy wanted to be like a snitch and involved, but like not really put his head out there too far.
Exactly.
Well, and not actually snitch.
No, you did all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll own it.
And I'm fine with it. You know what? I'm totally fine with it because I said to her, I'm like, she knows me.
That's like the top 3,000 worst things you've ever done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. yeah. There's a lot worse.
Yeah.
And I know this is a solvable problem. That's why I'm going to be on the side of help solving I'm not an enabler.
In my worst, I was drinking 2 a day. 2 of the normal cans, maybe sometimes a small and a big can. I went to the doctor's just to have like my knee looked at or something, and he takes your blood test or your blood pressure. And I was averaging like 92 over like 148.
I don't know what that means.
That's bad.
Oh.
You should be at like 80 over 120, right? And so he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, this might be the Red Bulls. So that's when it was like, that was like late November. It was when I decided to stop drinking. It was December. I went back to the doctor 2.5 months after Red Bulls, all 3 of them, 79 over 180.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy. So he was like, what'd you do? What'd you change? And I'm like, I stopped
over
drinking Red
120.
Bulls.
Just you said over 180.
Oh, sorry,
means your
79
heart would
over
be beating out of your chest.
79 over 120. Yeah. So then right there, I was like, okay, these things, they don't do anything. They're chock full of sugar. Anyways, we're done with it. I'm not drinking anymore.
I posted on
Thank
our
you
Insta.
for being such a real friend, JR.
You're
Next time,
welcome.
just drive to our house and tell her, for Christ's sake.
No, it's
Get a Skywriter.
No,
Get a Skywriter.
I put it on the social
It's a
at
group
Nation
effort.
Real Life, and I found a really what I thought was an arty photo of a Red Bull can. You gotta help me here in the socials, Chalmers. You like, I'll put
you know what,
something
man?
and I'll call you out at Smigorowski, and you'll like it. And I'm like, motherfucker! I'm trying to get some chatter going. There's me, Whiskey Woman, Brad Stepanko, and that is it. In
I know.
The goddamn
And you know,
comments.
at least 3 or 4 people sent me building questions, and I looked at them. I was like, oh, I'm going to get back to that. Yeah, didn't.
Consistency.
I know. Do you know what, guys? I'm new at this, and I'm not that active on there. I overthink everything I'm going to say, for one thing. And I just get myself into like a rabbit hole where I'm just like, you know what? Now I'm too far in it. I'm just going to I'll come back to it in a bit. And then I sit on the crapper and play Candy Crush.
Here's the trick to socials in making content. You just shoot it out, man. You just fucking hit it and quit it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it comes out terrible, you can
I
delete
will
it.
be
Yeah, don't-
better this week.
I never delete spelling mistakes. I never delete errors. Like,
but that's the thing is
out.
if somebody comes back at me with a spelling mistake, like
Oh,
if
yeah,
I write your without
Who gives a
E-R-E and they...
Fuck them.
No, because my natural reaction is to go back and be like, you're a fucking loser. Don't fucking
Do that.
spelling.
Now you got engagement.
Yeah, but then they're like, you know what? I would listen to this podcast, and I don't really like that way that guy talked to me.
Every single person you tell off will be your biggest fan. I promise you.
All right.
Because you'll do it in a funny way. Having said that, Tyler Yaremchuk's in here, our new producer, and he was fucking playing the episode while we were sitting here. Here's my issue, Tyler. I know I sound like an off-brand Seth Rogen because an Icelandic drag queen told me that once to my face. You sound like Seth Rogen, but shitty.
Okay.
And now I heard myself. And now I'm in my own fucking head about how I sound.
Okay.
So, that's all I had to say. I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you working on the show because I sound like an off-brand Seth Rogen. And I start all my stories with, so.
Okay, wait.
And that's so fucking annoying to listen to, and I apologize.
But that's how you could... Sorry.
I can't tell if you're complimenting my producing skills or telling me that I need to edit your voice more.
I'm
No,
saying thank you
don't
for
let
not
him hear it.
evicting me from the show.
Oh.
I don't like how I sound. I've never listened to a podcast once. Like, I've never listened to this show.
You should. I know because I used to not like how I sound. 'Cause you sound completely different
In your own head.
It's
because of the bones in your ears. I looked it up.
Yeah, the ear bones. And but then you get over it, and then you're like, yeah, that's how I sound. And then you just kind of like it's like you don't think about it anymore. You have to
Nobody
get a
really
couple-
loves the way they sound.
Bet you Beyonce does.
I'm not going to lie to you. The first time I listened to it, I was actually quite surprised at how nice I sounded.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but anyways, if you listen to it, at least you can like realize what your tics are. That if they annoy you, they might annoy somebody else.
Well, they probably do, man. And if I really listen to it too much, I'll just quit the show. I gotta just talk it.
Your host
shoot-
opening.
Well, it's like you and the socials, Chalmers, right?
Might send 'em
You gotta
clips,
just
yeah.
say it, and
Yeah.
you gotta get the fuck out. And so I'm just gonna make these podcasts. I think we're on like 138.
Something like that. Yep.
Nice.
Still haven't heard a full show.
123 today.
Oh, wow.
Oops.
Just a couple off.
Oh,
Well,
dear.
math.
Speaking of interesting shit that happened, Noah Gregor wins the WHL.
Yeah. That was a great photo Gregor posted of being on the ice with
Great
him and
photo.
his bro.
I call Gregor, and in my mind, like 4 days has gone by since they won the dub. And I'm like, Gregor, I'm so proud of Noah. He's a good kid. Led second in the team in scoring. Like, win the dub. They're going to do great in the Mem Cup. Don't you worry. Gregor's like, Mem Cup's over. I'm like, oh my God. What? Why was there no break between the WHL Finals and the Mem Cup? He's like, they don't do it like that. They already lost. Like, well, it's still a great thing to win the WHL. I was embarrassed. He's like, you really don't know anything, do you? I'm like, nope.
That's
Good for
like
him, though.
That is good for him.
To win in PA, they hadn't won in 34 years.
Yeah, they won it in PA. That would have been amazing to be in a building like because they have a small rink. That would have been.
Guys are bringing in ladders. You hear about this?
No.
Guy brings in, and this is obviously like allowed, but he brought in a 20-foot step ladder because he was in standing room, so he could watch on the ladder. And they let him do it the whole time.
Sasuke.
Are we sure this was a 20-foot ladder?
That's what Gregor said in his post.
Jesus. Those are hard. Kind of awkward to carry around.
Maybe I was wrong. Chalmers? Jesus F. I don't know.
Most ladders are like 6-8 feet.
Well, he's at 20. But maybe it's not as big your ladder is, Chalmers. Maybe
gotta
it's
get
how you
high up.
swing it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Good for him, though. I mean, if you win the WHL in PA, I think he scored the winner.
He might have. He had a good playoffs.
Dante Hanoun got the game winner in Game 7.
Oh.
But Noah had like an amazing WHL Finals. Correct?
Yeah, he was really
Yaremchuk
good.
strikes again
Yeah, it's good,
with
it's
his
good, it's
truth bombs.
No, hold on.
And I watched him a lot because I'm at every Oil Kings game.
Yeah.
And obviously those two teams went head-to-head in the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah.
And he dominates the Oil Kings every time he's here. He's like one of the best players on the ice. It was a really good steal for San Jose in the draft.
I knew I recognized you from somewhere. Me and you at every Oil Kings game together. I
Couple
would
of
see
fans.
you. I would see you and I would go,
Bro.
that guy and I are going to become best friends. Go to Oil Kings games together.
I remember going to watch Noah in like first year Bantam with Gregor.
Yeah.
And that seemed like 20 minutes ago. And I was like, so how's the kid going to do? He's like, he's going to go in the draft. I'm like, okay, Will.
I've got a signed Noah Gregor Moose Jaw Warriors jersey.
Yeah.
That's when he actually mattered to me.
He's gotten better every year, though.
Is it bad that I was surprised knowing that a relative of Gregor's was good at hockey?
His brother's really good at hockey,
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Colin
really? Played in the
Gregor.
AHL.
He won a national championship.
He won a
CIU.
Memorial Cup in Portland. I
He
believe.
did?
Yaremchuk, back me up.
Yeah.
What was JG doing as a kid then?
Colin Gregor yelling about it.
Talking,
Yeah, he was
talking,
calling
the
it.
stands.
talking into his Walkman.
Colin, cuts to the boards.
Yeah, he was at the game with an unplugged microphone.
Yeah, yelling.
Yeah, interviewing the
The
crowd.
best was at Gregor's wedding. I was like hanging out. He put me at a table with a bunch of his high school buddies. I'm like, so what was Gregor like before he was Gregor? They're like, no, this is how he's been. We used to call him Intercom in high school because he was always talking like he was on the intercom. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I'm pretty sure Colin Gregor won the CIAU championship, but we don't know anything about this Portland business.
Well,
But anyway, his point is the family's got a lot of hockey pedigree. And
Mm.
Gregor does too as a sports broadcaster. Let's be real. Let's be fucking real. How are we doing for time? Anybody know anything about time? Gonna need to
I
edit
don't know
this
anything
out.
about time.
Time's
Yeah,
all relative.
Rough weekend, so I'm not really
Yeah, no,
sure
that's
what
fair.
day it is even.
I'm surprisingly feeling good from the weekend, but that's another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
How about that Moby apology?
Yeah, swift. Well,
Wow.
it took him a couple days.
It took him 30 years from where I sit. 20 years.
I mean, what kind of, when you say that thing and it kind of like catches traction and you're like, the whole time you just know this is not going to be good for you.
The world has changed fundamentally in the last, since the Trump presidency,
Yeah.
right? Like the reaction to Donald Trump as the president is going to move the world in such a progressive way because like Me Too wouldn't have happened were it not for this.
Mm-hmm.
The whole witch hunt in Hollywood, shooing all these pervos out into the...
How does that relate to Moby doing what I think would be
no.
one of the most pathetic things in the world, and that is claiming you dated somebody and
Yes,
have them
people
say
do
no.
this shit all the time
No.
and being a creep show on a chick 20 years ago. And then if that comes out down the road, pre-Me Too movement, people are just like, whatever.
But do you not know how the internet works, Moby? If when you say that you dated Natalie Portman, there's a probably 99% chance she's going to find out.
Buddy, he wrote a song about dating Natalie Portman. Imagine being Natalie Portman and being 20 and having Porcelain come out and being a #1 hit about Moby claiming he's dating you. That is some creepy fucking shit.
I am also dating Natalie Portman.
Yes.
For the record.
You are not, you liar,
I'm
and I
bad
will
on-
cut you.
I'm bad on social media. I know how this works better than Moby, I think.
I think the world's not headed in a bad direction. I think people are not putting up with this type of shit anymore. It's good.
I think it's also fun to call out a guy like Moby
Yeah, he's a piece
for
of
dating
shit.
a hottie like
Eminem did
Natalie
it in the
Portman.
Without Me video. I needed you last week for that one, Chalmers. Remember?
No.
Remember in the Without
Oh,
Me video?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
dressed like Moby and then he throws Moby
What was
out
their
the
whole
window.
beef about? I don't even remember that.
Well, Moby called him for loser and the way they went.
Eminem was beefing with everyone at that
That's
time.
how you
yeah.
sell records,
He
man.
was
50
calling
Cent. took-
everyone out, yeah.
Let's take a break. Speaking of selling records, no, it doesn't make any sense. Back after this. I came out wanting to talk about Dave Tippett being the coach of the Oilers. I started the podcast, Chalmers, hard, on topic.
Yeah, and I did my best to get you off it.
Dave Tippett, the words no sooner left my mouth than we took a left-hand turn and tripled the speed of the car.
This is that portion of the podcast where you want to push that little circle with the arrow with the 30 on it. Probably talk about Tippett for what, couple minutes?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you want people to fast forward through actual Oilers news and an Oilers-ish podcast?
I mean, it's Dave Tippett. It's a coach.
I think it's a good step, man. Dave Tippett is a player's coach. He's a good dude.
Good dude, good communicator.
Yeah.
Was able to take a team that sucked and make them somewhat relevant in Arizona.
Very, very off-the-board pick, I think, in terms of, like, old boys club connections. This is Ken Holland, isn't it?
Oh yeah. This is totally Ken Holland. So we're seeing, guys go out the door and guys come in the door. So this is good, and I think from a culture perspective, I'm liking the pluses and minuses.
When you say culture, you mean Cardi B and Offset's baby?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. You
The reason I'm a little bit worried about like the Holland and the Tippett thing is just because isn't this the same hype of Chiarelli and McLellan, right? Like they promised us they'd do these interviews for everyone, and Bob Nicholson said, for the first time in this organization's history, we're going to interview for our vacancies. But then they interviewed people, and then they just threw the job to Holland because he wanted it. And then with Tippett, yeah, they interviewed other people, but the whole time it was like, but if Dave Tippett wants it, it's his job. If we can agree to terms with him, it's his job. So I'm a little bit worried that maybe it stinks a little like Chiarelli and McLellan 2.0, but I mean, you're hoping they're just a little bit more competent, I suppose. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm like so pessimistic about the Oilers right now and
why?
so nervous about the
thing.
next couple of years.
You're trying to apply logic to Oilers fandom.
Yeah.
We are deliriously optimistic about every move we make, but I actually think this time we're getting it right.
I really hope we are, because like when Chiarelli and McLellan came around, there was so much excitement because that was the year McDavid was coming, and it was like this breath of fresh air. These high-end candidates coming in to join McDavid and
Remember
all
how
this.
many high fives we had that summer? 20.
Record setting.
And now it's, maybe I shouldn't say this, but if Holland and Tippett don't work, it's going to be at the point where we're going is at the end of the McDavid era in Edmonton, right? Like the stakes, I feel like, are a lot higher right now.
Who in the actual fuck invented what? Huh? The end of the McDavid era in Edmonton.
if they go through these next 5 years with Ken Holland and they only make the playoffs once and they're still just a dumpster fire, I think the question is.
That's not going to happen.
I think right now the question's not legitimate. And obviously, he wants to be here and play out his
7 more years
contract.
of his contract, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but five more years of Holland with them not doing anything, then I think the conversation becomes
How
legitimate.
the
So
hell
that's
are
why
they
I'm a
gonna
little
have
nervous.
5 more years of nothing. That's impossible.
They just had 13 years of once.
Yes, but now they have 200-point men in the same team. They've got enough of a core now that as these bad contracts expire in the next year or 2, 3 years, building a bottom 6 and
Still,
some depth on D. I don't know.
I just think there's reasons to be a little bit nervous about this.
Well, obviously, it hasn't gone very well the last 30-odd years, 15, but I'm not that worried about it. I think that I think that Chiarelli had to make some spectacular fumbles to get the team the position it was in. I think Holland's just a pro. He's been doing it for so long. I don't think he's going to fucking make 1-for-1 deals and a bunch of other dumb signings of guys that are off-board Brandon Mannings of the world and shit. I don't think he's going to do that stuff.
Chiarelli was fantastic at being terrible.
Yeah.
It's almost impressive how bad his series of moves were towards the end. I mean, it's a low bar for Holland to clear.
I still don't understand the Koskinen signing.
No, of course
Every day that goes by, I'm more puzzled by it. It's not to say he's bad, but just like, was that a Chiarelli deal where he's like a dead corpse flailing and he's just like, sign him to a 3-year deal? Or was there a crew running the team at that point and they're like, hey, let's make a move and show everybody how competent we remain?
Well, I mean, it didn't help that Bob Nicholson changed his answer about how that contract went down about 3-4 times over the last few months too.
Yeah.
So, well,
I like how he was, I mean, and again, Bob Nicholson, great guy, I'm sure, as a human being,
Sure.
but just slightly peeved at him professionally. Why is he handing out, I know he's the vice president of the IWHF, so I know why he's handing out World Championships medals.
But it's the timing.
Why is he handing out World
Exactly.
Championship medals? Why is he shaking Darnell Nurse's hand like, sorry that you're here again? Like, fuck you.
yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Yeah.
Dan posted the clip on Oilers Nation's Instagram page yesterday, and I was just like, huh.
You guys are severely testing my craving for a Red Bull right now.
Yeah, did you just open gum on the air?
Yeah, you know, because I'm fidgety, so I grab things, I do things
Do
like.
you,
yeah.
do you?
I think everyone heard me open the pack there.
It's a good brand, too. If they don't pay, you don't say, though, Bag Milk. You
Of course not.
You know what I'm saying?
It's Oodle Noodle brand gum.
Oh, delicious.
Thank
I'll
you.
have 10 boxes, please. Mm-hmm. Well,
It's going to be interesting to see what Dave Tippett does, though, because I was reading an article somewhere by someone, and I think it was Ray Whitney. Maybe. It doesn't matter who it was, but he was talking about when he went to visit, or maybe Shane Doan. Doesn't matter. Going to see Dave Tippett after he was let go from wherever. And there was a line of guys, former players, that were there to talk to him and say hi. And
where is
Yeah. So no, when Tippett coached in Dallas and then
Yes,
went
yes.
to Arizona played Dallas on the road or whatever the hell. And after the game, there was a lineup of Stars players outside of Tippett's office to talk to Tippett.
Wow, that's
player coach.
yeah.
Might be nice. These millennials, they need a soft touch.
You know they do.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Dave Tippett's that soft touch.
He's got a great hug. Hell of a
Strong hug.
He just looks like a hard ass, though.
Did McLellan also have the label of a player's coach, though, right? Like, I mean, he wasn't like a Hitchcock level the other way, but okay, yeah, whatever then.
No,
You're
I
right.
agree.
Everything will work out.
No.
He's the
This
man
is
with the
good.
mic. Hold on, let me deal with it. Yeah, no, you're right. I think that though, don't learn the wrong lesson, right? So don't learn the wrong lesson from Chia and McLellan. Like McLellan's a good coach. He just inked 5 years in LA. If you're like, oh man, all of our problems are because of our good player coaches that come in on the player's side. I think the coach has to coach the lineup he's given.
I agree.
Clearly, McLellan got fucked around by Mr. Harvard man. So if our bar for coaches is like McLellan, I think we'll be okay as long as our bar for GMs isn't like Chia.
Yeah, and I remember the story that me and Dustin Nielsen were told earlier in the year where someone who was in the Oilers organization said Chiarelli went to McLellan's coaching staff like 2 years ago and was like, I'm acquiring Brandon Manning from Philadelphia. And McLellan and his staff looked at him and said, no, you're not, because we're not going to play him. And then as soon as McLellan was fired, in comes Brandon Manning. So I do think that
And history proved him correct. Brandon Manning is a Vezina candidate.
Oh yeah, no. Like I always liked McLellan. He got he had to play the hand he was dealt. And now that I hear that, it just makes me even more upset. But then there's also the whole thing of who did he save? Oh, Bouchard.
yeah, he
Right?
did. Like,
Chiarelli wanted Bouchard to stay, and McLellan just stopped playing him, forced him to send him down.
McLellan's a good coach, man.
Yeah.
I do, and I agree with that. Like, I think it probably would have been unanimous if you would have asked people in December this year, who do you want to see go?
We did.
McLellan or Chiarelli?
We
And
did, and they did. It was
and-
Chia 5-1.
yeah, everyone does kind of. I don't think anyone's sitting here going, "Oh, that Todd McLellan was the reason that we came last or anything, or finished in the bottom of the standings or anything like that." But yeah, the Tippett hiring I think will be interesting. I mean, McLellan did get us to within one win of the conference finals, right?
So this all goes back to what I think the core value of any the North Star of any decision making going forward that the Oilers make. Did they ask Connor, and was Connor okay with it?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, to me, that's all that fucking matters. So if that guy's motivated, he's happy with the choice, he had a say in the matter, then yes, I'm in.
All I care about is, can Dave Tippett match McLellan's looks in terms of his overall
He's
game?
got the silver fox.
Only
hair.
if he brings the stash back.
That stash is incredible.
decent.
He's got to get his player stash back.
The
And then-
Oilers lead the league though in hiring silver foxes. for
Absolutely.
coaches.
Absolutely.
Tom Rennie, amazing,
Oh,
Mac
incredible.
T.
unbelievable. Tom
Pat
McLellan.
Quinn.
Pat Quinn, good fine head of hair.
Yeah, hell of a hair.
Tom McLellan, also a fine head of hair.
Yeah,
Got that baby chopped probably every 10 days, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, that thing grew fast.
that was
Kept
such a
her tight.
sad photo of him in the airport that one day.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
such
I
a
know.
bummer.
I'm so glad things worked out for him.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you see
yeah.
that photo, Chalmers?
I did. Him sitting there on his phone,
Yeah, all sad.
waiting for his plane. Yeah,
Googling jobs and shit. Yeah, right. He's got
Googling jobs.
Flying commercial.
20 million in the bank. Hey, Googling jobs.
Maybe we need a good bald guy to come in then. If silver foxes don't seem to be working.
Trent Yanni, if he stays.
Rumor has it he's going to join McLellan in L.A.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Cunt.
Yeah.
We got so much beef with so many teams.
Oh, there's all the beef, all the teams.
That's all we do is we just run around the schoolyard and piss everyone off.
Yeah.
you have been hearing though that the assistants will also be named tomorrow, so I think that's also more of an interesting wrinkle because that's the unknown right now, right? We know Tippett's coming, but is Manny Viveros coming back? Is Glenn Gulletson coming back?
Love Gulletson.
I think Yanni's more or less gone.
How did you say it?
I don't know. I tried to say it
It
how
had
Gregor
some-
says it.
Had some flair there. I like it.
But like, who is coming? Like, we heard Bob Bugner, the former coach in Florida Connected. Dave Hackstall, Sam Carchidi, one of the reporters out in Philly, said he expects Dave Hackstall to join Dave Tippett's bench here in Edmonton as well. So there's a couple of like legitimate
I heard
former head
Jim
coach
Playfair.
names. Yeah, Jim Playfair, some rumblings as well. But like, if he brings in 3 assistants, which assistants are going to go? Which ones are going to stay? Like, I think that'll be the really interesting news from tomorrow. Obviously, we know Tippett's coming, but who's around Tippett?
It's like a sports podcast.
I was
Keeps
just gonna say there's
interjecting in
far
our
too much
gibberish
actual
podcast.
knowledge on
That's
that.
very well connected. I like him. It's
Well
good.
done,
No, you're
well
bringing
done.
the heat, buddy.
Well done.
Yeah, I'd listen to this. No, I wouldn't. Oh, shit. If you
So
ask me.
go back and listen to it now. If you did do the 30-second,
I like Gulletson.
it was actually pretty good.
Like, I liked him as a coach last
Who?
year. Gulletson?
I like that he always looked like, he reminds me of somebody who would have been in Dick Tracy. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. As a criminal or another cop?
Either way.
Yeah.
I can see either way.
I like him.
But why?
I like him because
What have you seen
down
or
the
heard?
stretch, I thought the Oil were playing well. Like last 15 games of the year. And this is after we were told that Hitch. Hold on. They weren't?
No.
Ish.
Well, they were better than they were. Okay, put it this way. Hitch, we were told Hitch is no longer on the ice.
Yeah.
Hitch is up in the stands. They have the
Yeah.
big story about it.
Yeah.
I didn't mind how the Oil played after that point, and it was Gulletson in charge. I watched a bunch of the games down the stretch. They weren't in it. I mean, when did they miss the playoffs? Mid-March this year?
So like the last 2 weeks,
Yeah,
they
something like
lost 5-0 to Anaheim when we were hosting the Finns, which was a must. Not,
I'm talking
which was
like
a for
2 weeks
sure
to the end of
win.
the year.
Well, that was like the last 10 days of the year.
No, that's when they went to shit. I thought they gave up, but like the from like middle of February till middle of March when Gulletson was in charge, I thought they played some good hockey. That's what I saw. Plus, he threw that stick into the crowd that one time in Calgary on a practice, and that's impressive.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
he went on,
he
then
may
he
be
went on
okay
like 10
assistant.
straight.
You never
This
saw
is when he
Like, out of
coached in.
anger?
He was the head coach of Calgary. the year
tomahawked
before, and he
a stick
threw
into
it
the
out.
crowd.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah, he spazzed through a stick, and the team actually heated up a little bit.
They went on a 10-game heater, actually,
Yeah.
after that.
Well done.
Well, it's saying like you look at like St. Louis, they were last in the league. They had their coach get fired. They had 2 of their own players fight in practice. Like all this shit was just kind of like happening to kind of like, and then obviously Gloria came to the forefront of the of being the victory song, and all of a sudden they've created a movement because of all this
Gloria.
crap. You don't know the story of Gloria?
No, I don't watch the playoffs.
This is not. Well, this is before the playoffs.
Oh.
So they were in their funk, and they were out. So this is what I love, and you hear a lot of stories of this. Teams that are in a mad slump, they just go out and get fucking pinned one night, right, as a team, and then start try to bring the team
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Well, they're on the road, and this is one of those nights, And so they go out to some club and there's got some guy, whatever, it doesn't matter. But all of a sudden this song came on and it like kind of resonated with a couple of the players. So they got them to play it again. And it's an old song from like the 80s. You've heard it. And they kept playing the song over and over and over again because like it brought the team together because they're all like singing it. And it kind of just like made the night. And then they go and win the next game and made that their winning victory song. And then kind of the rest is history. So now they play it in the building after they win.
Cool.
So it's kind of like become this like movement, right? So like they're infighting, firing coaches, and then they just got out, got drunk one night, bonded, brought some song to like kind of be the glue of that, and have been off to the races ever since. And they're gonna pay me out 14-1 maybe.
To me, it's like when white chicks play Wagon Wheel and they all get together. You know what I mean?
Wagon.
Yeah, you don't like Wagon Wheel?
I think Wagon Wheel works with anyone.
Great camping song.
I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, everybody
Everybody can
starts
sing
singing.
it.
Everyone,
if you don't,
yeah.
you know the one part.
Yeah,
I
you
know it if I heard it. I just can't think of it. I'm thinking about Gloria.
Rock me, mama, like a wagon.
Oh yeah,
See?
white chicks love that.
White chicks love that song, man. That is their Gloria.
Do you remember Gloria? Do you remember how it goes?
No, same thing.
We'll end. I don't know. Yeah,
Gloria, Gloria.
Oh yeah, I remember
That
that
one.
track.
Oh yeah.
that should be the song playing out of this podcast.
We'll get to.
So what is-
it'll
why
be-
don't
for
Oilers
for
have
13
one?
seconds.
Why don't Oilers have one? What do
Because
we
they don't
have?
win.
Yeah.
Gotta have something to. Be
I saw
worthy
somewhere
of it.
So
Strauss
it's-
was asking people to do that.
Well, because it's because of Gloria.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, did they ever?
And I
find
told
one?
them they should remaster or remix Cotton Eye Joe.
Now
And
you're
I
talking.
got lit up. Embrace it.
Embrace it. A good Diplo remix of Cotton Eye Joe would be heavy in these streets. Heavy.
Cotton Eye Joe has like a cult hatred towards it being played at sporting
Yeah, it's
events.
like
I know
Nickelback
exactly. And that's why
Yeah.
we need to own it. Let's
Yeah.
go around. Everyone hates us already, so let's just
Yeah.
freaking blast it in their ears.
Can you imagine after the Oilers score like a big goal in the playoffs, the whole
Cotton Eye
building just
Joe.
like belting it out?
Unbelievable. Like, you gotta own the hatred.
That'd
exactly.
be so
We can
tremendously
convert the
horrible.
hatred
It'd be
into
great.
love if we make it a thing.
That would be awful.
But so awful, but then you make it your own.
Exactly.
Something awful that is your own isn't that awful.
You pay
Exactly,
Soulja Boy
it's
to come
amazing.
make a dance up for it.
Yeah.
He does it on the scoreboard. Remix. Big money being thrown at this Chalmers.
That's what you do. You don't take because what Struds was trying to do, and I wanted to call him out because I was pissed. I got like I said, I got massacred for.
I like when you and Struds
Like
fight
Gregor-
on social media, then call each other and work it out after.
Oh
This
yeah,
has happened several times.
Struds will call me. He's like, "Are you okay, man?" I'm like, "I don't fucking care. It's Twitter." But they brought it so much just to mock me on air
Yeah.
about me saying Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah. Own
Both
it. though.
So Gregor, I think we should.
But you own it too. You
But,
lead
like,
it. You
but-
lead it out.
But what my issue with Struds is he's like, oh, we got to find our Gloria. No, like these things have to happen naturally.
Yeah.
You just don't like, okay, well, we have to find a song of the same genre and blah, blah. No, our fucking song is Cotton Eye fucking Joe.
Yes.
And Cotton Eye Joe would give you an excellent opportunity, Jay, to cut a rug in your newly reinforced suit
Oh, boy.
from Indochino.
Well done. Well done. Smooth.
Thank you. The way it works, as Jay knows, is you head on in. Actually, and you know what? I'm talking about Indochino right now. How many people from around the nation are going in to get suits right now?
I was shocked. I posted, I did an uncrating video of Indochino and posted on my Instagram story. So, like, it's only like a fraction of the views that you get from like putting an actual post. I got so many DMs being like, how long did it take? Like, where's the store and all this? And the next thing you know, I think I got like 15 people ask me specifically about the process of the suit. And then I go to like over the next 2 days, 4 of those 15 people were posted that they went to Indochino.
It's awesome.
Unreal.
I like that all of our listeners are heading down to Indochino to get measured up, choosing a style. We need to get them to post them. I want to know what they're putting on the inside. You put
Exactly.
Hope Will Never Die on the inside of yours.
Yeah. Amen.
If you are listening to this right now and you head into Indochino, I want to see what is inside your suit. I want to know what kind of pattern you picked. Chris, the former intern, went with the kangaroos. Put a joke in there. What will you do to customize your suit after you get measured up? Within 2 to 3 weeks, you are going to pull a wrinkle-free suit right out of the box, and you are going to look as sharp as you ever have. Jay.
I got to explain to Chalmers what intern Chris did. Yeah, I'll give you some context here.
Okay.
He put the punchline of a joke embroidered inside his suit jacket.
So we could tell the joke and then open the jacket.
Yes. It's his favorite joke. And I think
We
I
don't
told
want
it.
to give it up.
Oh no, I'll tell you because I think I told it. We were
Is
doing.
it not?
We
okay
had
for
we had like a so Chalmers and I were together for an annual like boys golf tournament this weekend, and I don't know if you're part of the circle, but we had it was almost like a poet like rap circle or something where we're just going around telling like the worst jokes we've ever heard.
Yeah, I was involved.
Yeah, so I told Chris's joke because it's one of those like bad dad jokes, and it's how come the bike can't stand up?
I don't know.
Because it's too tired.
But it works though.
I mean, yeah, it works.
So you see Chris, you ask him what his favorite joke is. His suit will give you the answer.
Absolutely, and he's going to look great. So what you need to do again is head on over to Indochino.com, start the process, pick your style, customize your suit, get measured up, store those measurements on your account, and whenever you need a suit, Wanye, you head on over there and you get one done from our friends at Indochino.
I'll never need a suit.
Yes, you will.
No, I won't.
Absolutely.
For what?
Your funeral.
I'll be, I'm planning on dying in flames. I plan to be cremated before my heart stops beating.
I just feel like when the Oilers win the Stanley Cup that we're all going to be rolling around in suits.
I just hope when I die that all they find is like a knuckle. And they're like, aw, we found his knuckle. And then they put that in the coffin. He died in flames. Don't need
Blaze
no
the glory.
suit.
That's interesting.
You ever see it's probably you haven't, Chalmers. There's a photo of like the cosmonaut from Russia that returned to Earth, first guy to die in space. And like all they had left of him was like a burned up wrist. And it got a state funeral. That's what I want.
See, what I would do is I would put the knuckle in your
Interesting
case
turn.
in the pocket of my new suit.
What's that?
I would just put the knuckle in the pocket of my new suit.
So
lay
it's just
that
like
nicely.
an empty suit with a knuckle
Yeah.
in the pocket?
Yeah.
Classy.
Lay that nicely.
Classy. What kind of coffin are you thinking?
Oh.
What is going on?
Well, if it's only a knuckle, I feel like I can save money.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Vans box.
That's how you
real
bury
nice.
a pet hamster.
Yeah.
I think I told you guys the other day when people were that they're offering composting now as a cheaper alternative to your normal funeral.
What?
Yeah, human composting.
Problem I have with that though is, okay, the composting does what it does.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with the soil / dirt /
That's
compost?
a great question.
You're not feeding people, although I would like that if people are eating
Have you
meat.
ever seen the Vice where they turn like wastage, like human waste, and they had to like basically follow this truck in stealth from like 45 minutes. What they do with all the stuff they get out of like the New York septic system, sewer system, and within 45 minutes, it is at a tomato farm as fertilizer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Tobacco.
there's that.
How about living on the space station where you don't get water brought up except for like once a year? You're basically just drinking a closed loop of pee.
They said that water goes through the system and back through a tap. It can be done in like 2.5 hours, something
The
like that.
space station's like that. The only source of moisture is pee. Poop, poop.
How did we get here? Oh, the suit.
Yeah. How's that for an ad, Indochino?
Yeah. It ended
are
with,
You want to look shit hot?
Yeah, it ended with, and that's the story of how you drink your own pee in space. Indochino.com for all your suits.
You guys looked real good in your
Yeah. Chris
cup
and I,
sipping.
yeah, we
photo.
shot some video
Chris's
content.
last day.
Yeah, we had a
Chris's
farewell
celebration.
macchiato.
Was it really?
Yeah, he's
Decided to get paid for stuff?
Yeah,
now?
exactly.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, he has a wife.
It's a step.
He's off to a
Paid
big
late.
boy job. Doing his thing.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Absolutely. Earned it. Got a suit. We got 2 more segments here, Wanye.
He
That was
stuck around
live
just for
ad.
the suit, and then
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, okay.
Oh, I know.
finally got something for
We
an
went all in
interview.
on our
I'm
boy,
out.
and then he bounced.
Yeah.
Chris, the greasy intern.
Yeah. Tale as old as time.
Yep.
Chalmers, you came in here today spitting some interesting topics, and we said, as we always do, before the podcast starts, we sit around and chat,
Yes.
and then Jay makes the claim every week that all our interesting shit was said pre-show, which isn't far off. From what I'm told on social, the show isn't very interesting. But you watched the Wu-Tang show on Crave, and it's unreal.
So last night, yes, I needed to. When I come back from like a weekend where we have a really, really big drinking day, usually on the Sunday, I can't sleep at night. So last night I watched 3 parts of a 4-part, 1-hour series, like 1-hour documentary on the Wu-Tang Clan, and it was so good. If it wasn't so late, I would have watched the 4th one. But like we grew up with the Wu-Tang, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, we love
and
Wu-Tang.
so like they completely were revolutionary in the way that they formed like a group and just how close they were. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about the Wu-Tang, but in real cliff notes, there's a guy that basically started it all. His name is RZA. His cousin's name is Jizza, and their other cousin is Old Dirty Bastard. And those 3 basically, when they were 18, just started making music and kind of doing all this thing. But then they were friends with these other, 6 guys that lived in the same projects as them. And right off the bat, they were playing shows, and like when all of a sudden they just decided from day one that they would be a unit or nothing at all. You know what I mean? Like they were going to be the 9 of them till the day they died, or it wasn't going to work for them. So they shopped themselves around to like every record agency, and none of the record agencies would ever, because it's never been done before. But if you got the rights to a group, you got the rights to their solo acts. So the person that signed Destiny's Child, they got Beyonce. Like that's a huge thing.
Matthew
And
Knowles.
Michelle.
And Michelle, yeah, and you got Kelly Rowland with being better than Michelle. She
The
actually had a
original
couple
Destiny's
songs.
Child.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah,
them?
Absolutely.
The fourth one, she didn't do much.
Well, there was 4 members of Destiny's Child.
Yeah,
Then they
yeah.
went down to just Bebe, and then brought in Michelle and Kelly. So like 3 chicks
Kelly-
were booted.
Kelly and Michelle were originals.
Nope.
I don't know. About
Well,
this.
you've wandered into my
Okay,
beehive of knowledge.
But basically, there's
I
like
guarantee
four,
you that
four
there
or
was
5
4
of the
people
huge...
in Destiny's Child originally, and 3
No,
of
I
the
know
rest.
that, but I didn't know it. Regardless, the
I
biggest
think I
thing...
win.
I'll submit just so I can go on. So basically, yeah, they were going in there trying to get 9 guys signed, but they didn't want to sign exclusivity deals with that record label, and nobody would do the deal because RZA from the very beginning had a plan. He had a 20-year plan where he was going to have Method Man, Ghostface Killer, and Raekwon. They were gonna go together with one record label, and they were gonna be the first 3 solo commercial acts.
So what? They had planned on doing like a joint venture with a different record
Basically,
label?
yeah, he had said we are gonna sign. So he had planned it where he knew record labels and how they were gonna market certain people. He knew which guys could be a little bit more commercial, which guys would maybe just be a little bit more. I don't know. I don't even know the word for it, but
George Michael and then the other guy in Wham.
that guy did not do well. Anyway, so he just knew where he wanted to place them to basically like make sure they had the best chance of succeeding. And so he would not let them sign exclusivity deals. He finally found a guy that was going to give him this deal. A guy who was just starting up a record label called Loud, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I just want first right of refusal for everybody, So basically, like if you have a deal with Elektra and I want him, just tell me the price. If I can't match it, he can go." And so it was just really interesting because there's 9 of them. Everybody's worried about how these guys are going to coexist and split up the money and stuff. And RZA and all these 9 guys are just like, don't worry about it. Like, it's not totally about the money. Like, we're family, 2 of the guys didn't even sign contracts. Jizza didn't sign a contract because he was just like, you're my cousin. I'm not signing a contract with you. Like, we're just going to do it. And you keep your word, I'll keep
That's
mine.
sucker shit.
Yeah. So, but the best, like, the big things about the whole documentary, and I won't try to spoil too much of it, but, like, there was absence from like certain absentees like Oh Dirty Bastard and Capadonna, and these guys were in jail during like some of the rises, so they could have been cut out of it, but they weren't, right? But you have to watch it for the ODB parts. Like, it's pretty sad that what happened to him in the end.
Did it show how he got arrested in the drive-thru?
It did. So they showed him get arrested. Cop said he had a gun. It was a cell phone. He gets arrested, put in jail. He's charged not guilty, or he gets the verdict not guilty. He comes out, and in his press conference afterwards, they ask him, "Are you going to sue the police force?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to get as much money as I can." And the second question was, "Are you scared for your life? And are you wearing a bulletproof vest right now?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm scared for my life. I'm paranoid. I've already been shot and robbed. Like, yeah, I'm scared." And he was then arrested like promptly after that for wearing illegal body armor. I went to jail for quite an extended time, and it kind of, at that point he was like, just this skinny rapper, and he came out of jail and he was not that anymore. He was,
Hard.
he was hard, and he had changed, and he was paranoid, and he was probably a little tough to deal with, but they had a plan for him. He walks immediately out and signs with somebody else. It's really cool just to see how they kept it together. And for most of the documentary, all 9 of them are sitting in a movie theater, a couple seats apart, a couple rows apart, and they just talk, and you can tell that they've just been through it all, and they're still friends, and it's just an amazing story. Wu-Tang Clan, it's really good. And I remember Triumph, man, that song was just like the best.
Oh, as good as it gets. Top 5 rap songs of all time.
Yeah.
What would you include top 5, Jay? Just randomly, doesn't have to be number 1 or 3.
Top 5 rap songs? Oh, you gotta go some old school Snoop, like Gin and Juice or something like that for sure, because that's kind of
What's My Name? It's a good track.
Yeah.
See, and you asked this earlier, and like there's a lot of old school rap songs that we haven't even heard, right? That are like just, I don't know. Would somebody consider like a Funk Master or Grandmaster Funk?
Oh yeah,
or Grandmaster Flash. Sorry,
I think it depends on if you're an OG rap fan or 1-0 and OG or like.
Well, I said for the writing and just the way that it came out and just the importance of it, I believe that Stan was like just next level at the time. You know, that it was just...
It was like a rap ballad.
Yeah.
Like, even though all raps are kind of ballads, but like that one was like...
so long, and like, you know, you always get that one like rap verse where you're just like, holy shit, he's still going. And it's so good, you know?
Well,
and that was what that song felt like
a
for
lot,
three straight verses.
A lot of rap songs, you know, they're just like rhyming words and they're like little chunks of information.
They're not storytelling.
Like that one is a powerful story.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That one, like you listen to it and you feel affected.
On a lighter level, DMX with his Damien one.
Oh, DMX was
good.
amazing.
DMX was amazing.
That was pretty good.
If ever there's like a rapper whose lifestyle fucked with his career, it's DMX.
Oh yeah.
Like he's been around. He's not dead or nothing, but he's been in jail so much, in and out of jail. And
fuck, he was good.
So one other thing about Wu-Tang Clan is that like I didn't know the importance of Hot 97 to everybody in New York, and so like Wu-Tang had finally made it, and they were on a Rage Against the Machine tour, which was like kind of different, right? You got the Wu-Tang Clan with Rage Against the Machine, but now they're playing to like the most diverse audience they can play to, which is like huge for them, and they are like killing it. Like people are loving them on this tour, and what they had was a deal where they had to come back and play Summer Jam every year, and if you broke your contract to play Summer Jam, Hot 97 had a policy they would not spin your records anymore. And so Wu-Tang was like, they just finished a show. They had to fly in on their own dime because they didn't want to screw this up. It was a big thing. They get there, and like they had just spent all their money to get there. They're exhausted and shit. They get out there. Everybody's kind of being disrespectful to them, and like they have, you know, shitty dressing. I mean, everything is bad. They're all just like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are we doing here? This is awful. And so they get up there, and Ghostface Killer is now like just at his breaking point. And he just starts a chant of "fuck Hot 97." The whole crowd erupts and starts doing it. And Hot 97 didn't play another one of their records for 10 years. So it hurt them bad. And like he did that to 8 other people. Yeah. Like it's what stopped. They had a progression. 3 albums were going to come out for 3 of the artists. 3 more. Like, do you ever remember an Inspector Deck album? No. A You God album? No. Do you like? I know there was a Capadonna album. No. Do you even know who Master Killer is? Like he.
Because I love Wu-Tang.
Yeah, but like it's like some guys got pretty screwed up. It just took them so long
to recover from Hot 97 chant.
Just from the very beginning.
Was that them jumping the shark? Like, is that when they went?
Well, because they would always do Wu-Tang albums. So it's like I know it's not hard to like make an album, I think, but when you're making like a solo album over here, but yet you're working on a Wu-Tang album, it takes a while to get in like so like can't imagine that like You God's very happy that he didn't get his. Yeah. You know, solo art, and he says it in the thing. He's like, I'm pissed still. I never got my chance, you know.
But like, what's preventing him from going and putting out his own album?
I think his ties to the group. I think in the very beginning they said it's the 9 of us and we do it together. And if you go do this, then you're still like because they always got produced by RZA.
But how do you like wait for 20 years for your shot?
I think sooner or later too, you got old, you know, and you're less.
But is he able to like make a living off of his Wu-Tang residuals and shit?
Oh, I think so. I think because they had a cut of all the companies that they had, which is like Wu Productions.
They made Wu-Wear, like they were the first rappers to have clothing, and before anybody else had clothing, they had stores.
Yeah, they had a store in New York, and it opened up, and in the first year it did like $5 million, and they opened up 2 more immediately, and the stuff was like just like they couldn't keep it stocked. Yeah, I think the best years or the consistent years they had that were the best, they were pulling in $25 million in revenue a year. But not only were there the 9 guys. There was 4 or 5 just in management capacity. A guy named Divine, which is RZA's older brother. Was their manager. Yeah, and he was hard. He was the one that was on the streets hustling, and I think they used a bunch of his money, and he, you know, and then his best friend Power, and You God was actually one of their friends to begin with.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then there was a guy that they went and was just their manager. They called Mook, and they were just like, "You're gonna be our manager," and he's like, "I don't have a fucking clue how to do it." The best story he tells is, he went into a record store and right after Protect Your Neck came out, and everybody had just heard it because this Bobito and and Stretch played
Yeah,
it.
Stretch and Bobito. The
Yeah.
guy, they're like
so,
the
so these
the-
guys played
yeah.
it, but nobody knew where to get it.
Have you
And
seen the
so-
documentary on them?
No.
Super interesting. Anyways, keep going.
Vito's kind of a weird dude. In the little
both weird.
interview. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
they're
So,
weird.
so anyways, the guy walks into the store and he's got a box of these albums and he's like, "Would you buy these?" And she says, "No, I don't think anybody's gonna buy them." So he leaves and he sends 2 guys in to go ask them for it, and then he sends a couple more in like the next day. And he's and so now this person's like thinking about it. So then he brings the box of records in and he's like, "Just play it on the thing, right?" And all of a sudden, the guy comes in and asks for it that he didn't ask to come in. And then they're playing it, and one guy's like, "Oh, this is that shit I heard from outside the store." He comes in, he's like, "This is the one I wanted." All of a sudden, there's like a group of people around him, and he's like trying to sell them out of the box in the store. And the chick grabs a box. She's like, "No, we'll take them. Like, so it was cool. Like, and so he was like, "I did this at this store. I realized it worked. So I did it all the way from North Carolina up into like, up to Maine and stuff." So he just started doing that. That's how he hustled the first albums.
That is straight hustle.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Because he had no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
So you'll like it. And I didn't talk about like even 20% of this thing. This thing is really, really good.
Old school rap, like rap's an interesting genre of music because for a lot of these guys, there's no plan B. So they're like, I'm going to be a rapper, or there is no plan
even when
B.
they're doing their plan A, they're still getting in their
Oh, yeah,
trouble, man.
for
Like
sure.
they were almost derailed. There's parts of it where you're just like, just stop. Like, why are you derailing
But they're
yourself?
always like on the edge of monetization, right? Like rap videos were the first videos to have product placement, right? Back in like the late 90s, early O's. You remember when every single rap video had like a singular wireless ad in it and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'd be like, "Oh, I'm Nelly. I'm texting the girl from Destiny's Child in an Excel."
Or
Remember?
when Puffy and Mace are making it a point to show the 2 bottles of vodka, like with the labels out that they're dancing with,
Yeah.
because it was just a.
And Puff became
2.5
Ciroc guy, right?
Yeah.
And like when you have those rap crews, and they're basically just like, okay, especially in that time era where they're like, I'm gonna load up my trunk and I'm gonna go sell like Cash Money Records. They would put out albums every 6 to 8 weeks, like always 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And the ones they didn't sell, they would go give to drug dealers in the South for like $1 an album, and they would include it with drug deals. So they'd be like, "Hey man, hit me with some of that brown sugar." I don't know if that's a drug, but I'm just saying for the purposes of the story. And they were like, yeah, for sure. Here's that new Manny Fresh album too. And you're like, okay. And that's how they built up a lot of their, and they would go park out outside of other rap crews shows and be like, "Don't go in there, buy one of these." And people would be buying Cash Money.
I love it how they used to make all their albums look the same, so you knew it was a Cash Money album
Yeah.
because it had like the name in diamonds like above,
top, yeah.
and then like a whole bunch of like random shit put together. Like the guy would be holding a pit bull with like a cell phone just in the top right corner,
Yeah.
and then like a real like the brand new pager like on the top bottom, just to be like, these are the stuff, this is the newest shit out there, and it's gonna be on the front of our album cover.
There's a documentary on YouTube. It's just like very bootleg.
Is it called Holler If You Hear Me? No. Remember that movie?
Is that? Oh, the Cash Money movies?
Yeah.
Amazing. There's a documentary that shows like Lil Wayne's like 15 or whatever, and they're on a bus and they're like going through the South. They're doing a tour, and in the bus they have like crates of CDs, and they'd be out there giving out towels. Like they did it all themselves.
Yeah, super cool.
Super cool.
It's good. It's on Crave or HBO, whichever one.
It's an amazing podcast, by the way.
I think I want to do a weekly what I watched because we still haven't got to like
Well, your construction
Chalmers,
one went great.
To be fair, there's about 5 things you've wanted to do.
Well, we still can do a building update. Yeah. Well,
No, my building update's coming. Don't you worry.
somebody asked me how to
here,
stop their sump pump from freezing at their lake. Well, don't have it outside.
Perfect.
Put heat
That's
around
a great
it.
segment. Jay's laughing.
I mean, what do you
that
want
means
from
3
me?
of our 12 listeners are probably laughing at home right now.
It's like I don't.
We should have a segment called "What's the new segment Chalmers wants to do?"
Yeah, exactly. That's the segment.
Well,
You're supposed
it
to
could be-
do like a what grinds my gears
Yeah.
or what awkward
Oh,
social interaction I had for the
we didn't
week.
keep it very 100.
You
for
told that
very long.
amazing story.
Yeah,
about-
keeping it 100. I
Yeah.
really thought that had legs.
You know what? This is why I don't listen to this podcast. It's fucking inconsistent as shit.
Okay, well, next week I'll talk about the other documentary that I've been holding.
What do you want?
Well, I can't tell you that now.
Oh,
We're
come
not
on.
gonna
Just
be
tell me a
consistent.
little sneak.
It was Action. It's called Action. It was about gambling.
Oh.
And with the height, like with online gambling becoming the next big, thing that's going to happen in this world, where it's
Look
gonna
at me.
become-
I'm getting rich off St. Louis potentially winning the cup.
You are
rich.
So this documentary is just 4 parts. It's on Crave and HBO. It follows 4 different people, and they all kind of do it differently, and it's just really, really interesting.
Yeah, like the sports gambling thing, like me working in like the sports media thing, like on a daily basis, seeing what like people text in and ask us. And now we're at the point where we have a guy from Oddshark who joins our show every week, and it's like one of our most listened to segments because this guy just comes on and is like giving you insight and all this stuff. And I was on his Twitter feed the other day, and usually he plays about 8 to 10 things a day, and he tweets them all. And someone was like, okay, out of curiosity, like, how much are you putting on these? Because, like, you can't really be gambling that much on playing, like, 10 to 15 games a day. And he's like, no, I'm playing $15,000 a game. And it's like the crazy, like, some of the guys out there that are sports betting, it's like straight up lunacy.
That's how I do it. I bet like $100,000 a game, Chalmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I bet on the Oilers every time.
See, that's
Unrelated
the thing
news.
is, when
you
you
wanna
talk
borrow
about that,
let me $5.
you could win your $10, Jay. It's like, just
No, that's on my hedge.
Leave it to the. Oh, okay.
That's on my hedge.
But like in the one dude in this action, he is betting $1 million a weekend on football. Collectively, like he bets on college but in one weekend he will have $1 million at risk, and he doesn't watch a single play of any of the games.
That's smart.
You read stat lines, you do all that.
He has he's got a partner.
It's like me not listening to the podcast back.
Like it kind of takes the fun of like if you're gambling like that, like
No,
we
it's
actually have a
business for him.
system.
So that's the thing is they have one guy who's he's a business. This guy's just a business. He's got a guy who made an algorithm. They watch the numbers. They bet smart on it. They move lines. They bet so much. Me and Bagman talked about this. It's like what he's doing is like a business, and a really expensive business. Like, but then they follow one guy who sits in the sports book and plays like a couple grand a day, and you can tell he's addicted, and if you watch it all, you can tell it's kind of ruining his life, and it's And then there's the other guy who's making a ton of money by not even gambling, just selling picks. And I don't know if they just have it to catch him. Just watch it. Like, well, we already did it. See, that's the problem now.
We'll make up something for
We'll
next
talk
week.
about it again.
Shit's gonna happen. Dave
can
Tippett's
dive
gonna
deeper.
come out with a rap album on Monday.
Well, that's
We're
the
all gonna
thing.
flip out.
We're gonna have Tippett. We're gonna have announce of new assistant coaches. Probably, maybe, who knows, a new Stanley Cup champion, and maybe some kind of new Norwegian signing.
I can't wait.
Yeah, just beware of anybody that sells picks on social media.
I sell pictures of my feet, Chalmers.
No, picks, like picks, gambling picks.
No, I'm selling picks.
You sell picks of your feet.
Yeah.
Who,
Is there a
Japanese
big market for
businessman?
that?
That's right. Yeah, it's a side hustle I'm working on.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's feetnation.com.ca.
I've been told that when I clip my nails, I got pretty nice. Maybe we get,
Hey,
maybe
we'll
get some of
partner
that
up.
feet money.
Yeah, man. Why not?
I mean, I'm in. 80-20.
All right. 80-20.
This
My
is
way.
like Riz and Jizz's deal. You're my cousin. I'm not going to make you sign a contract.
is
Why'd
funny-
you say that?
It is funny that you mentioned the Instagram guys, though, because they're everywhere right now.
Yeah, and they on the one guy, Vegas Dave, just it's amazing. This guy,
I got a guy on Twitter, Incarcerated Bob. And this guy is as legit as they get. for
Actually in
gambling.
jail?
Oh, no. Well, his name's Incarcerated Bob. He's like a famous guy.
okay.
And he's got like, I don't know what he has now, 350,000 followers. But for some reason, a long time ago, we talked, and he like mistook me for somebody who knew something. And he only follows like a few people in his mind. Every now and again, he'll like some gibberish. I'm like, man, this guy. But he's got a ton of followers, and he genuinely seems to be one of these guys that's out there killing it. Like, these guys are savants. They're looking at numbers. They're looking at math. They're not like watching games, like making gut picks and shit.
Yeah.
They're not just betting on their favorite team.
Yeah. They're like analytics.
Yeah,
guys.
that's cost me a lot of money.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Like I see the Oilers as underdogs, and I'm always like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tonight's the night.
I'm cheering my heart out tonight. Like, but it's also impressive to see like the Odd Shark supercomputer. It's like one of the most respected ones out there, and it's still only right like 58% of the time. Even the guys who do like routinely kill this stuff and are like on Twitter posting their picks, if you're betting on sports and you can flex like a 60 to 65% win rate, you're laughing, right? Because it's all about getting the right underdogs, and then that's kind of all of it. So if you're right 60% of the time, you're laughing.
But even 58, like these guys are making lots of money, right? Because they also weight how they bet in terms of like some games deserve more action than others. So like 50%, if you game everything, that like that
Look,
could still.
you can do all the research in the world. The fact is, there's still people playing a game, and any outcome can
Oh, yeah.
happen. That's why I always say to my wife, I'm like, it's the best reality show on TV. It's like if I give her one story, I made her watch the 60 Minutes on Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, and she.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
What's his name?
he's a basketball player.
Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Oh, dear.
Giannis.
Giannis. It's Giannis.
Well, I butchered both of them then. The Greek freak. Let's call him that. Anyways,
Fear
I made
the
her
demon.
watch the 60 Minutes, and she like wanted to watch the 7th game of the Raptors Bucks with me because she was just like now invested.
But you're good. Like, I hate the NFL, and I'll sit down occasionally and we'll watch a game, especially on the road, and you'll be like, Here's why this is important.
I can give you a story.
The assistant coach of the one game was married to the assistant coach of the other team's fucking ex-husband, and I'm like,
I love those little stories. Those are the best stories in sports.
The American, I feel like American Olympic coverage
Yeah.
is amazing at bringing out the subtext as to why this is important.
And that's something about hockey, where the stories in hockey are like they did something good at charity. These guys aren't as like, I don't know, they're kind of boring.
The game isn't personality driven.
Right. But
there are those stories.
Yeah, there's
so
those stories.
is there
But
like
they just ignore them.
Yeah, I mean, but
Like
that's
when I tried to say Glenn Gullickson's a good coach, and everybody in here just shot me fucking daggers.
yeah. Didn't even know he was a person.
Jay
before
hates
that.
Glenn Gullickson.
No,
Chalmers hates him
Well,
too.
he was the head coach of the Flames.
hate strong for me, but
Yeah.
I don't know him.
True. Jay hates him.
But anyways, yeah, like it's just sports stories. I can give you a story in almost any game that if it means something that you don't want to watch.
And I feel like shows like 30 for 30 have done wonders for the medium of sports broadcasting. That it's not just like the Temptation Sports, and even we have this with our podcast. It's like, what happened today? But when you take a step back and you look at like what happened 20 years ago, what's the overarching arc? Like that, I saw the Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells documentary, and then we got hit with the other one. There was the two Bills, and then there was another one that Suds told us about.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Watch
Watch both of them.
was it both on football?
One's
Yeah,
about Bill. Yeah.
Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells.
Yeah, I know that
one.
one.
And the other one's like the rise of Bill Belichick.
Oh yeah,
When he was
okay.
in Cleveland or there's some kind of Cleveland connection.
And like I don't even like football, and I watch it. I'm like, holy shit, this is
Well,
unbelievable.
you can see the engine that the NFL is. They've got the NFL network, and granted there is the NHL network, but they always got like a football life. It's just storytelling.
Because they know. That's exactly right.
And that's for me where I find out like that's where I make my decision if I like a person or not, a player. And that helps me, especially because I have except for the Browns. I love the Browns, but it gives me allegiance to
shirt.
like, I am wearing a brown shirt actually. Allegiance to other teams or get me interested in watching games that don't feature my team. And that's the thing. Like, we've got the NHL network. We've got like the infrastructure's there. We're just not using it.
Well, we've also got Oilers Nation. If we want to get really personal, I think we should start figuring out better Oilers content, man. We can do this. Like putting together a little bio of a player that's 10 minutes long.
An autobiography?
Are they involved?
Autobiography means we're creating.
What autobiography is when you write your own biography?
No.
The
Is it?
opportunity for stories though in hockey is like not as hockey. You have to have the means to play it as a kid, right? So there's not going to be all those stories where it's like, oh, this person had to overcome.
There are stories like think about it.
It would be more of a time thing.
And
though.
this is
like
why
the family,
Scandinavia
what the
is
families
taking
gave
over.
up for it.
But this is why like Scandinavia is taking over. To that point, the barrier to entry to play hockey in Scandinavia is zero because
They fund it for you.
they fund, but equipment gets passed down through because you basically when you join a club, you're in that
outfit
club
you.
for life.
Yeah.
So like the Pee-wees are supplying the Adams, and the Adams are supplying the novices. Their equipment, it all passes down. So you just need to play. You just need to show up, sign up for a team, and if you're good, and you'll play at different levels within the organization, or you'll time out and can't continue on because the level gets higher and higher and higher. But equipment's essentially free.
And maybe there isn't like the same rags to riches stories that there is in football and stuff like that, but there's like the international angle, which I think is so interesting and so overlooked.
Yeah, nobody's
like
telling him.
Yak is coming in, literally riding on a yak.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. I remember when he was like praying in the stands when he first came here. I'm like, oh my god, it's unbelievable! What an interesting exotic player.
Yeah, one of the best videos when he walked out and for the first time saw the arena that he was going to be playing.
But the thing is, they never made any more content about it. And Poolju is from like North Finland in a place that's like equally remote. And I promise you, if you took a camera crew to where Puljujärvi's from and like walked around and looked at shit, it'd be unbelievable. So different than rags to riches storylines, but there's still a lot of interesting subtext.
So you guys need an investigatory journalist that's going to go do these stories.
Catch you to catch a predator style, drinking red beezies, and then go figure out where Yak came from.
Well, even like a guy like Nuge, you could talk about the rags to riches story for him, how he quit hockey for a year.
Did you know that, Chalmers?
He couldn't afford it.
He couldn't afford it. And when he first got in the NHL, he went and took a check back to his minor hockey league team and wrote him a big ass check.
I did not know that.
That's the thing. And if you were hit with that information, you'd probably be a more engaged Oilers fan right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd know more about the players. I mean, but
it would make you like the team because
it's
the players
absolute truth.
exactly right.
100%.
But
I do not know anything about the Nuge. And the only time we came close was when Brandon Davidson was here, and he goes, I know all sorts of stuff about the Nuge. We roomed together on the road. And I go, all I know is that he likes racehorses. Then you came flying in and started talking about how your uncle owned racehorses, and then we never heard Brandon. Brandon Davidson never told us a word about the Nuge. That was the closest I came.
I really ruined that for you.
That's okay. I
never
like your
even
story
realized.
better. No, your story's better. That's actually why I like this show, is that when there are, like, we're going to do more long form interviews, right? We're working towards this. It's hard.
Yeah.
And hopefully JJ being fired makes it easier.
Yeah.
Straight the fuck
It would be awesome to have an Oiler sitting at this table and us having a real conversation
about the Wu-Tang documentary.
Exactly.
And why wouldn't they understand that this is going to help them?
Because that's not how they have historically thought. And that's why Oilers Nation can rise up in Edmonton, Chalmers.
Yeah.
And be as big as it is.
Yeah.
And be bigger than the Journal, and bigger than the Sun, and bigger than all that shit. And yet, if you are wearing Nation gear at the Oilers game, you're sure not to get on the scoreboard. That is the needlessly contentious attitude that has prevailed around these parts.
Yeah, like the Oilers, their mindset has always been with whoever was in charge with the media relations that we're better than you and we don't owe you anything, right? Like that was kind of the barrier there. It was always like, who are you? We're the Oilers. We're all that matters.
Oilers
and I'm
fans
really
are
hoping
way
that
better
changes.
than the
But-
Oilers.
and so-
Oh,
so-
yes,
but-
without a
second,
doubt.
Charles. Oilers fans are better than the Oilers. They are. They deserve so much more than the organization has given them since 1990. They've got that so ass backwards. I hope to hockey Jesus with a new regime that attitude changes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good NHL stories that I would like to hear. And I think that bringing them out into the market would make everybody like their teams better regardless of winning and losing. And that's what good journalism does, is just makes it a richer experience. Anyways, Real Life Podcast. See you next week.